In 48 hours, an entire town could be destroyed because someone in Rushville is a manhunter disguised as a human. And the real bombshell of this episode? The sheriff might be part of Gotham's own Kane family. Today, the complete Lanterns Episode 2 breakdown. Hey everyone! After a flawless premiere, Lanterns Episode 2, Trustfall, leans a lot more into reminding us what we already know than pushing the plot forward with the same force. It's not bad, it's just a more re-establishing kind of episode, common for a second episode of a new show, though it feels a little odd for an 8-episode HBO season. Quick catch-up if you're just joining us. We're following Hal Jordan, a gruff, older space cop, training Jon Stewart, who isn't thrilled about the arrangement but has spent his whole life preparing to be a Green Lantern. The pilot ended in 2026 with Hal's death, or apparent death, found on the bleachers in Rushville, Nebraska by Jon and Sheriff Carrie Kaye. This episode, though, mostly takes place in 2016, when Hal and Jon end up in Rushville because 4 men, actually aliens in disguise, were shot dead on a football field, and a 5th, in custody, blows himself up before he can be interrogated, taking half the police station with him.
The episode opens quietly, with Jon asleep in his motel room until Hal shows up, splashing him with water again. Annoyed, Jon finds out Hal still hasn't even called the Guardians about their dead aliens problem. Hal decides to teach Jon how to fly, hands him the ring, and the entire lesson boils down to, you fly. Instinctual for Hal, not so much for Jon, who isn't a fighter pilot. And once again, Jon isn't instantly good at everything. He can't fly, but he does manage to make a bird construct. And here's the shocking part, he manages to keep that construct going without the ring, which genuinely stuns Hal. It might connect directly to the fact that Jon doesn't have a ring at all in 2026, as we saw last episode.
Can he make constructs without one? Hal gives the ring a little smack to jumpstart it, coaxing out a bit more charge. I really like that scene, not gonna lie. It was a fun touch. He sends Jon on a flight to his place in Coast City to grab his own lantern and feed Earl. Plus one extra task, keep the bird alive the entire time he's gone. Back at the bleachers, where he'll eventually die, Hal investigates the scene and notices something odd. The metal detectors don't pick up his belt or his rental car's bumper. So what exactly are they detecting? He can't reach Sheriff Kane, and the town is empty. Using what little charge he has left, he flies over and finds everyone gathered at Town Hall, debating whether Friday's football game should go on after the shooting. Billy sits way too close to Hal, telling him the charges are dropped and he's free to leave. Hal wants to know how Billy's father's friends knew the dead men were aliens. The conversation gets interrupted by Carrie, who tosses out an "excuse me, honey," and both Billy and Hal answer yes at the same time. I laughed out loud at that one. Genuinely didn't see it coming. Hal's real goal is talking to Carrie, but he gets pulled away by a call from Jon, who can't find his house key, hidden inside a fake rock shaped like a smiling potato. While Jon searches Hal's mansion for the lantern, Hal heads to the hospital morgue. The house was a gift from a rich man whose son Hal once saved, mostly empty except for photos of Hal hanging out with the Pope and the like. While explaining this to Jon over the phone, he drags a fully nude alien corpse out of the morgue. Jon finds the Green Lantern uniforms Hal doesn't wear, tries one on in the mirror, and there's a fun joke about superhero suits never having a zipper for bathroom breaks. Honestly, just watching that scene might make you want a Green Lantern shirt of your own, and there are some genuinely good options available on Amazon and the YouTube shop right below. Hal voice activates the box holding the lantern by saying, "Mogo doesn't socialize." That's a direct reference to Mogo, a Green Lantern who is literally an entire living planet and who sometimes serves as a core base. And here's the fun part. That phrase isn't just some random inside joke. Mogo Doesn't Socialize is the actual title of a classic Mogo story written by Alan Moore. And the box isn't really a box, it's a pocket dimension, which fits right into a growing DC trend we've also seen in the Superman movie and Peacemaker Season 2. We've actually got a full video right here on the channel breaking down exactly what pocket dimensions are, so click the card on your screen right now or the first link in the description to catch up on all of it.
Jon also learns that Earl, Hal's pet, eats custom beef and bison, basically the only thing in the fridge besides soda, ketchup, and beer. He heads to the greenhouse and finds Earl, a carnivorous alien plant, straight out of Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors. No direct comics equivalent, just an original creation. Meanwhile, Hal figures out the metal detectors are actually alien detectors, and that's exactly when Jon gets grabbed and blackbacked by a group of thugs right outside Hal's house. If you want to read that classic Alan Moore Mogo story yourself, it's available in a collection on Amazon and the YouTube shop right below.
Jon wakes up in the back of a van, distracts a thug with his bird, and manages to escape straight onto the highway. One of the thugs chases him with impossibly high jumps. Jon saves his bird, but gets clipped by the van and knocked out. Meanwhile, Hal gets pulled over by Carrie, who finds the stolen corpses in his car. After some banter that borders on flirting, he reveals he wants to visit Will Macon, which Carrie thinks is a terrible idea. She admits her marriage would be a lot smoother if being obsessed with aliens were actually illegal, and Hal, genuinely curious, asks if her marriage is unsmooth. At the Macon ranch, Hal invites himself in, and Will questions why he's still in town. Hal accuses Macon of hiding something, which makes the guard tower guy arm up. His suspicion comes from experience. He's traveled the whole galaxy and never seen tech as sophisticated as this metal detector. Macon says it came from his benefactor, who owns the property. Hal keeps pushing, wanting to see more tech on site, takes 2 steps forward, and gets shot. Jon, meanwhile, wakes up zip-tied to a chair in an abandoned office building. A man named Antaean apologizes for the violence and is curious how Hal is keeping the bird construct going from so far away. Jon clarifies it's actually him, no ring involved. But the real reason he's there is something else: Manhunters.
Like most people watching, Jon knows absolutely nothing about Manhunters, which shocks his captors. They're aliens themselves, and their plan isn't to torture Jon, it's to recruit him. And they're in a hurry, because one of the most dangerous beings that's ever existed knows it's been found, meaning it's already preparing a brutal response. There was once a time of chaos in the galaxy, when the Manhunters, synthetic beings, showed up, able to impersonate any species undetected, building tech far beyond what their host planets could manage. They were brutal and deceptive, wiping out entire species before vanishing, except for one, on the home planet of the aliens we're watching right now, who witnessed their entire people get wiped out. Using some kind of memory weapon, they force Jon to relive it all while he screams in horror. But notice, he manages to keep the bird construct going the whole time, meaning it's not taking all his focus. Antaean frees Jon and keeps explaining. A Green Lantern took this Manhunter into custody, swore he'd be executed, but it turns out he escaped and hid in Rushville, able to look like any human in town. That's why they came, and why they were killed before they could identify him.
Now they need Jon to find the Manhunter within 48 hours, or they blow up the entire town. Quick comics context here. In the source material, Manhunters were created by the Guardians as their very first police force, but being robots, they saw everything in binary, right or wrong, no in between. That went so badly, the Guardians had to shut them down and replace them with the Green Lantern Corps, living beings with actual nuance. And as for which alien race they wiped out, in the comics, Manhunters killed everyone in Sector 666 except 5 beings, including one named Atrocitus, who was consumed by rage against the Guardians and became the very first rage-powered Red Lantern, founding his own rival corps. Except the show credits this character as Antaran, not Atrocitus, so unless that's an intentional swerve, this is probably something else entirely. If you want to dig into where this whole Dark Red Lantern origin comes from, there's a collection available on Amazon and the YouTube shop right below.
Good news, Hal isn't dead. He's in the hospital, with Carrie sitting at his bedside reading a book, curious about Sinestro, a name Hal apparently said in his sleep. It's public knowledge that Sinestro is an ex-Lantern who led a coup and killed a Guardian before Hal took him down. Hal's handcuffed to the bed for trespassing, and Carrie makes it clear everything he's been doing is undercutting the authority she spent years building. It actually lands, and Hal admits, "You're right. I'm sorry. You're right." She uncuffs him, there's a lingering eye contact moment, and she explains why she fought him last episode. She was wrong about a man named Waylon being an alien, and didn't want Will Macon riling up the whole town. So why hasn't Hal left yet? His gut, of course. She wants him gone because everything feels ready to explode.
and once he's discharged, Hal notices there are no other patients in the hospital, which is genuinely strange. He asks Carrie where she's from. "I'm from Gotham," she says. "Moved here on a whim."
And here's the bombshell for Batman fans. Carrie Kane is very likely part of the Kane family, one of the wealthiest families in Gotham City, home to names like Kate Kane, Batwoman, and Bruce Wayne himself, whose mother, Martha Wayne, was born Martha Kane. There's more too. Last episode, she mentioned not being able to comment on active investigations during a phone call, ending with "tell Barb I say hey," possibly referring to Jim Gordon, Barbara Gordon's father. Might be nothing, but the clues are piling up way too fast to be a coincidence. Jon heads back to Rushville by taxi, stops at a diner, and runs into Zoe Macon. He tells her flat out he wouldn't have slept with her if he'd known she was married. They talk about Will being kind of a weirdo, though Zoe doesn't seem that way herself. "White men have the privilege of being eccentric," she says, landing right on the real connection between them. Both people of color navigating a world where white men get a free pass for any eccentricity. She admits she likes the security Will provides, doesn't stay out of love, and turns the question back on Jon. "So how's your white man?" Realizing he's projecting his own complicated feelings about Hal onto her situation. When Hal and Jon finally reunite, the tension is obvious. Jon ends up asking Hal directly what he knows about Manhunters, laying out everything that happened, including the 48-hour deadline, even though he was told not to say a word. Together, they figure the Guardians would never have hidden a Manhunter in Rushville on purpose, so something else is going on. The theory? A bin sewer must have brought the Manhunter to Earth. The Manhunter killed him, and that's exactly how Hal got his ring in the first place. Back in his motel room, Hal suits up and flies off to an unnamed alien planet, entering a guarded facility that turns out to be a prison, likely the science cells the Guardians use for high-risk inmates. Who's he visiting? Sinestro, of course, wanting to know about Manhunters. The exchange is sharp and cold. Sinestro mocks Hal for skipping pleasantries, and when he finally answers, he warns that if a Manhunter really did exist, it'd be the second biggest threat Hal's currently facing, then turns it around. "So why don't you tell me about Jon Stewart?" Not great. It really seems like Hal's greatest enemy and former mentor is about to try turning him against his own trainee. Now, the theories that are already blowing up. Who killed Hal Jordan? We don't get any 2026 footage this episode, so not many new clues, but there's one theory floating around that I find genuinely compelling. Maybe his death isn't some big murder mystery to solve at all. It could be something sadder than that, tied to a father figure we haven't actually met yet, a possible Jon Stewart Sr., carrying the grief and disappointment of feeling like his own son, the Jon we already know, never reached his full potential. Still very speculative, but it's the emotional read that makes the most sense to me right now. Some fans online are even speculating the dead Hal isn't really Hal at all, maybe a shape-shifted alien, given how much the show hammers home that they can look like anyone. Possible, but I think that would cheat a lot of the emotional weight of the story. Who's Macon's benefactor? Probably not Lex Luthor or Bruce Wayne. Both feel too external to this particular show. Could be another Kane we just haven't met yet. There's even a gate on the property with a giant M on it, which could just mean Macon, or could stand for Manhunter. Who knows? And the big one. Who's the disguised Manhunter? The strongest theory remains Zoe. She knows way too much about Green Lanterns, and about Jon specifically, and making her the person behind it all would land as a genuinely devastating personal gut punch for him. Maybe she's even grown to like living on Earth and doesn't want to wipe anyone out anymore. Other suspects on the table, Will himself, Billy, Billy's son Noah, or even Hal. But for now, the smart money's still on Zoe. So who do you think the Manhunter hiding in Rushville actually is? Are you with the Zoe theory, or have you got your eye on someone else already? Drop it in the comments. This discussion is going to be a good one. And if you want to understand the entire emotional spectrum, every single Lantern Corps color that exists, and just how much of it could actually show up in the live-action series, we've already got a full video covering exactly that right here on the channel. Definitely worth the watch. If this recap helped you piece together every clue from this episode, drop a like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode of Lanterns. Thanks everyone, see you next time.